Okay, so what is going on in the Middle East? Why is there a war? What is the history of this war, biblically, politically? Why did it start? Why is it still going on? Why is the United States supporting Israel so much with all this military aid, $3.8 billion a year? What is going on? And I have done a ton of research on this subject. I have a clear passion for this subject. I love history, current events, and I want to get to the bottom of what's going on. Biblically, in Genesis 12, God is speaking with Abraham, and he says, your offspring will be blessed with the land of Canaan, modern day Palestine and Israel. So Abraham wants to have kids. He has a child with his wife, Sarah, and he has a child with his maid, Hagar. Him and Sarah cannot conceive at first, so he has a child with Hagar, Ishmael. He then goes to Sarah, they try again, and he has Isaac. In Genesis 17, God says that Ishmael, you will be blessed with many descendants. However, my original covenant is with Isaac, who is seen to be the father of the Israelites. And so you can see how both sides, Ishmael being the father of Islam, having all those descendants, they have a spiritual and historical tie to that land. And Israelites, Jews, have this tie to this land as well, this original covenant promise. And so you can see how both sides view the land as their own blessing. Now, politically, in 1917, Great Britain, with the Balfour Declaration, according to the BBC, they declared a Jewish homeland in an already Arab Palestinian nation. And this is a huge issue because there are already Arabs living there. And later down the line, they'll face many more consequences, like having to be moved out. And in 1947, the UN worked with David Ben-Gurion, who would be the first prime minister of Israel, to then in 1948 establish Israel as a state and a nation, with also support from the United States. Truman, Israel is now a state. And this has immediate effects. And according to the Institute for Middle East Understanding, 700,000 Palestinians are forced to flee, called the Nakba, or catastrophe. And still, going back to that establishment of the Israeli state, according to the Office of the Historian, they double down. This is an Israeli state. It's established already. So Palestinians are forced to flee. And in 1967, Israel took more land in the West Bank and in Gaza. Constant war, even though that land was controlled by Jordan. So they've been back and forth since before the establishment of the State of Israel, during, after, in 67. And then, of course, you get up to October 7th, when Hamas performed that terrorist attack on Israel. This really drove Israel to up the ante and declare a full-on retaliation. They did receive warning signs from Egypt just a few days prior, about October 7th. That's also according to the BBC. But it simply wasn't enough, and 1,200 people died. The war is still going on because both sides think, it's mine, it's my land, these are my people, we deserve to live. We deserve to be there. The United States gives Israel all this money because they're extremely strategic in the Middle East. We need to keep ties on terrorist groups like Hezbollah in Iran, Hamas in Palestine, ISIS in Syria. We work with Mossad, it's like the CIA of Israel. Very high-tech, extremely smart intelligence organization. And Israel, we can establish bases that have access to oil in the region. Now, I do not advocate for any war, and I don't want anybody to die. This is just the history of it. This is just why it's going on. And that is just why the United States does support Israel.